AITA for not wanting the car my boyfriend bought me? I know the title makes me sound ungrateful. I'm sorry, I don't know how to word it. So I, 22F, got a car as a graduation present when I was 18 from my father, who has since died of cancer. It was only a couple years old, and it's a pink buggy, 2013 model. I absolutely adore it. I've always been pretty girly, and it was the perfect car for me. I wasn't some spoiled little rich kid though. I paid my own insurance and gas, and my father saved 4 years to get me my dream car if I graduated with a 4.0, which I did. I take such good care of it inside and out, and everyone in my life knows how much it means to me, for aesthetic reasons as well as sentimental. Anyways, I turn 23 next week, and today I was inside watching TV when my boyfriend, 38 meters, who I thought was running errands, came home excited and told me to come outside. I ran out and saw a light silver car in the driveway. I was kinda confused cause I already have a car, but I was trying not to show it. I asked what year it was, and he said 2001. He told me he bought it off some guy for $700, and the only repairs it needed was new tires and brakes, saying, "You can finally sell your bug now." He wants to use that money to take a vacation after travel bans lift too. I told him nicely that I appreciated the gesture, but that I already had a car that I love, and that's much newer and more reliable. He got angry and told me how ungrateful I was being, and that I was some spoiled little kid who didn't know what it was like to work for anything, which is BS. I pay most of our bills and have a savings. He spends all his on weed and video games. He then basically told me, with much more cussing and screaming, that he wasn't gonna be driven around in some ugly little kid car anymore, and it's embarrassing that his younger girlfriend drives him to work and events etc. in something straight out of a 2000s teen movie. I told him he could use the car he'd just bought to drive himself around then, and he said no, because he doesn't like driving. He wants me to do it, just not in my bug. At that point I was at a loss and went back inside, and he then kicked the side of my bug, got in the silver car, and took off. I don't know where he is now, and I don't care. I feel like he got me a gift for him and not me, and proceeded to insult me for telling him I don't want it. I told my friend about it, and she took his side, saying I need to take his feelings about it into account, and that my bug is kind of embarrassing, and I'm too old for it now. I don't know what to think. I love my car and I don't want to change who I'm just cause I'm a few years older now, but I also don't want this car to ruin my relationship. I also feel bad cause I basically said F you to his gift, which was pretty expensive as far as gifts go. I don't want to get rid of it, but if I'm the pig for being stubborn and reacting the way I did, then I'll definitely apologize and maybe give it to my 15-year-old cousin, so I can still have a connection to it. Let me know. AITA, update, a mini one. I definitely hear you guys loud and clear. I don't know if I was willfully ignorant before or just naive, but I realize now that this goes deeper than just a car. The longer I think about it, the madder I get, and everyone's comments are making me feel like I'm not so crazy anymore. So thank you. I now get that I'm getting nothing out of this relationship, and him kicking my car honestly did scare me, and I don't want him to eventually do that to me. He texted me a little bit ago saying I needed to choose the bug or him, along with some name calling etc. So, I've decided to choose my bug, and by extension my dad. WND break up with him, cut him out completely. I reconnected with my older brother who lives a town over, and explained everything to him. He didn't know any of it. He's letting me stay with him for as long as I need, because I'm scared of what my ex will do. I'm taking all valuables, documents, etc. and informing the police about him kicking my car. My neighbor also watched the argument and is going to vouch for me. He isn't on the lease, so I can easily kick him out, but we were planning on moving anyways, so I'll just find my own place now. I don't know what he'll do. Maybe he can sleep in his new car. Reddit comments. NTA, your boyfriend wants you to sell your much nicer car so he can use the money to travel. You deserve so much better. hopefully soon to be ex. This is extremely narcissistic behavior. Obligatory red flags. I think the age difference and that op, while being 15 years younger, is the more financially responsible one, speaks volumes. FFS, it was a present from her dead dad and the much older guy wants her to sell it off so she can drive around the cheap beater he bought and blow the money from the sale. I've been in relationships where I was the more financially responsible one and I'm broke AF because I don't make much money, so you'd think I wouldn't have ended up supporting guys or explaining how to grocery budget, but here we are. Now happily single and in a relationship with my car and cats. Lol. He's embarrassed because the car shows the reality of his relationship. He presents himself as a sugar daddy with a hot young girlfriend. The car shows the world and his co-workers. She owns the car, she drives him around, and she pays the bills. He feels emasculated by reality and wants to build his own narrative to make himself look better by making his GF look worse. Also, don't date 40-year-olds at 22. Kids. Let the bug ruin your relationship with your boyfriend. Consider that to be another gift from your dad, and let him and the friend who sides with him ride off into the sunset in an ugly, bland silver car together. Keep your cute car. NTA. A 38-year-old dating a 22-year-old is pretty sketchy to begin with. On top of that, he's embarrassed to be seen in your car. Maybe it's time to consider if it's worth it. His age is 38, but he is acting like he is 16. Not to mention, she said she pays all the bills, and she's expected to chauffeur him around like a child? Excuse me, I'm sorry, but this man is almost 40 and isn't contributing anything to your future or overall well-being. No doubt his coworkers are already giving him shit for shacking up with a 22-year-old, and he's trying to make her seem older. Getting dropped off to work in a pink bug is just the candy pink icing on the Barbie princess cupcakes of his predatory behavior. Op, keep your car. I'll be so mad at you if you give it away for this douche canoe. Your dad would be too, even if it's only because you'd be trading an own reliable dream car for this heap of scrap your BF rocked up in that is 19 years old and on its way out. Edit, not that you'll see this, but just in case. I saw your update. I love it. Good luck. Op, I think that might be part of it. He never explicitly told me his coworkers tease him, but one time I tried making and bringing him lunch at work cause he'd been complaining about always having to grab fast food, and he lectured me on showing up unannounced wearing that getup, which was a pink, surprise surprise, dress with flowers on it. I was irritated, but also felt bad, so I didn't go again. Op, you are so polite and well spoken that I really wish well for you. This man sounds utterly terrible for you. A good boyfriend would let you wear all you want and drive the car you loved, and I hope you let him know all that when you let him go. You deserve so much better. NTA, all the best. I hate pink. Hate it. I wouldn't own a pink car if someone bought me a pink Bentley and paid the taxes and registration on it. But if my wife had a pink car that she was sentimentally attached to because it's her first car that her dearly departed father bought her just before he died, I'd help her maintain that car until the day we die. We'd get newer, safer cars down the road. We'd keep Pinky. We'd go on vacations in Pinky. We'd go on road trips in Pinky. I'd have proposed to her in Pinky. I'd suggest that she drive down the aisle in Pinky so her dad can walk her to the altar, in a way. If she refuses cause she thinks it's ridiculous, I'd demand that we ride out of our wedding in Pinky, and I wouldn't budge until she agrees. Your boyfriend is emotionally manipulating you, and he sounds dangerously selfish and narcissistic. Take Pinky and the memories of your father and leave. No real man would make you give up your first car, and certainly not one that your dad bought you just before he died. NTA. Op, I love this comment cause my dad called me Pinkie Pie from My Little Pony, which I loved as a kid. Some of my last memories with him were driving him around in my bug, windows down, playing some cheesy pop music while he sang along with me even though he didn't know all the words, haha. That's exactly why, from an emotional standpoint, I don't want to get rid of my bug. I'm definitely considering ending this with my BF. because of yours and others' fresh viewpoints. Comment and subscribe.